Well, after 2 weeks of negotiations, Republican Senator Lamar Alexander and Democratic Senator Patty Murray reached a deal to restore the Affordable Care Act cost-sharing reduction payments for 2 years in exchange for more flexibility in Obamacare. This according to published reports. Now, President Trump is also claiming that previous presidents didn't reach out to families of fallen soldiers. Trump's comments come after 4 U.S. Special Forces soldiers were gunned down at the border of Niger and Mali. Now, joining us to discuss the two topics and then some, we welcome now political commentator and the owner of Retrovision Media, Lee Bynes, and good to have you.
Good to be back.
Hey, let's talk about this here for a moment. Now, as we talk about this agreement that was actually reached, what exactly does this agreement do, and how does it really play out, given the fact that the president has made these cuts to subsidies?
Well, you know what? Lucky for the Bronx viewers, I made some notes. And the Alexander and Murray plan, or that they're trying to put forth right now, here's what it is. It's going to offer skinny plans. If you don't know what a skinny plan is, that's like a lightweight health plan. It's going to cost you less, but you won't get nearly the type of coverage that the Affordable Care Act would have with their essential benefits. So they've streamlined their plan in order to bring down the cost for deductibles, et cetera. But the plan, while Donald Trump initially came out and said that it was something that he could get behind, 2 hours later, when he spoke to a group of GOP conservatives, the bean counters, if you will, he came back and said that this is something that he would have to rethink all over again. You see, a lot of those in the GOP want to see Obamacare ripped up from the root. They don't want anything left of it whatsoever. And as far as they're concerned, that's the only thing that their constituents, the red meters, if you would, is going to buy at this point, even though it's definitely to their detriment.
And let me talk about the deal. Now, the deal allegedly will make it easier for states to obtain waivers to customize Obamacare to their needs.
Well, in doing so, and that's one of the surprising things that I found, that this is a bipartisan effort, is simply because once you give the states to change the way that the Affordable Care Act has been set up, you're going to find those pre-existing conditions starting to be kicked to the curb. People who are older, people in my age group, healthy or not, will find themselves paying higher premiums, higher deductibles, and higher co-payments. That's just the reality of it is. And so if you happen to live in, say, California, or you happen to live in New York, you may be okay or better than most. But if you're in Mississippi, you're in Texas, you're in places like Florida and Georgia, you could have some issues.
Yeah, 2018, the deal, well, I should say 2018 premiums, it still remains unseen as to how that will actually affect insurers and what that will mean. Let me move on to another topic. We're talking about the president. We know that he made his comments talking about former presidents have not reaching out to the families of fallen soldiers who've been deceased or killed, I should say, out in war. A lot of people are extremely aggravated over the president's comments. What are we to make of this?
We should make of it what we've made about his issues with the NFL, with the same thing with his issues with Puerto Rico, the same thing with most of the issues that he brings up out of the clear blue sky. Is simply a distraction from a lot of things that he doesn't want to deal with right now. For one, he doesn't want to deal with the fact that the Puerto Rico situation has been poorly handled, mishandled at best. He doesn't want to deal with the fact that the fallout from Europe over the Iranian deal that he's trying to renege on right now. He doesn't want to deal with the fact that in North Korea, see, these are the stories that we had to cover at Issues Under Fire at Retrovision Media. These are the fact that North Korea has issued a statement saying that they're no longer interested in dialogue or diplomacy either, and the fact that they were going to wait to come to the table after they've shown the United States what they're capable of as far as their offense and defensive military procedures are. So yeah, we're in a really, really hot world right now, and for us to sit here and engage back and forth over whether or not Barack Obama placed a call to the fallen warriors, if you will, is kind of ridiculous. And but speaking on that, I have to wonder whether or not the things that the president is doing is just another way to stick a shiv into Barack Obama's legacy. You know, he's tearing up the Affordable Care Act. He's tearing up the Iranian deal. He's looking right now to disengage from the NAFTA trade agreement after getting out of the Paris climate. So everything that the previous president has done is being torn apart and replaced with nothing. Again, when we get back to that Iranian deal, and that's why this is so important, is that if in fact this deal falls apart because the president decided to get out of it, once the Iranians, if they decide to kick the international inspections, the IAEA folks who are responsible for determining what they're doing, why, and what it's for, there's nothing but put in place to replace that. Mm-hmm. So we don't know what he's doing. He is destroying a lot of stuff, but he's not building anything.
But 2018 is right. I mean, midterm elections are really around the corner. What can we determine here about midterm elections, given the fact that the political climate right now? Do you think we're going to see a surge of voters coming out, given the fact of what's going on? You know, you've got the issue with Puerto Rico. You've got a whole lot of other things at the table. Is this going to be enough to bring voters to the table?
Well, you know what? I think it will. At this point,
when the polls.
Yeah. Okay. When we look at the Affordable Care Act, we were talking about that, right? And we're looking at this new plan that if it does get through, and that's highly unlikely at this stage of the game because, again, a lot of Republicans don't want any parts of the Obamacare to exist. Well, the Republicans have been talking about this since 2010, that they were going to repeal and replace. If they push this back beyond 2018 to the 2020 election, then yeah, a lot of folks are going to be coming out because they will then know they would have had 2 years of Trump care to look at and be dissatisfied with. So yeah, I could see a lot of folks coming out to the polls, but unless, again, one caveat, unless the Democrats actually come forward with a plan that people are going to be able to rally around, or some economic policies that people are going to be able to enjoy and move themselves up on the economic ladder, we don't know how this is going to turn out.
Lee Bonds, that's why we bring you in. Thanks, Lee.
Good to be here.
All right, Lee Bonds, our political analyst. You can catch him every week here on Open. Stay tuned. We got more show coming up. We'll be right back right after this.